Back here in Glendale, all set for the Cardinals and 49ers, and needless to say, there's far more significant things going on with Hurricane Superstorm Sandy pelting the East Coast, the Atlantic seaboard, and many without power can't watch us. Some are there tonight just trying to stay safe, and we wish everyone and all your friends and loved ones living up there the very best. And many of our crew lives back on the East Coast, and thoughts to their families as they're all here, bringing the game to you here tonight. Do our best to give you a few hours of enjoyment. Watch a football game. San Francisco and Arizona. Toss won by the Cards. They defer to the second half, so San Francisco will get it first. Ted Ginn Jr. 3 touchdowns in his career as a kickoff return man will bring back Jay Feely's kickoff. This place is sold out. All 70 games since they opened this building. And the first regular season game in here in 2006 was Arizona-San Francisco. It is way off the radar for folks who live east of the Rockies, but this is a good rivalry. As Lisa told you, teams don't like each other, and you'll see it with the defensive style tonight. Off we go from the desert, and the Feely kickoff. And Ginn from 7 yards deep. Teddy with an opening across the 20, brought down 25-yard line. Dave Sanders, the safety, makes the first tackle of the night. Here comes Alex Smith leading the San Francisco offense. John, I mentioned earlier, only 1 touchdown last 2 games. Got to find some success and rhythm.
Well, it is a unique offense. You're going to see crazy shifts, never seen before formations. But at the end of the day, it comes back to Frank Gore. They want to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball under head coach Jim Harbaugh. Arizona's got to stop them tonight.
Fullback, Bruce Miller, who comes back in front of Gore. And from the 25, Frank's first carry is a gain of 6. Up the middle, William Gay making the stop. So even though he had that rib injury Lisa talked about, 92 yards second half. Total of 182 yards in the game against Seattle. And John, really, of the guys who run it on a regular basis, nobody gets bigger chunks per carry than Gore.
23 carries of 10 yards or more already. He can run it in a 2-back set, a 1-back set. Tremendous vision. One of the best in the game.
We were talking about all those pre-shift movements by the Niners. Alex Smith, first pass of the night, is caught by Mario Manningham with a flag down at the 40-yard line. Manningham will miss the last game, the Seattle game, with a shoulder injury. Back in the lineup here this evening. And Bill Levy is our referee tonight.
It's like William Gay.
Pass interference. Number 22 defense. First down. Spot of the foul.
It's a timing hook pattern, and Gay got there a little bit early. The ex-Pittsburgh Steeler. Take a look at it. Just a simple hook route. Manningham turns over his inside shoulder, and I think it's a good call. Gay read his keys well, but he got there a little bit early. Randy Moss is checked into the game. He's at the bottom of the screen. They'd like to get him going tonight.
And a first down run. It's Gore coming to the left side. Broke the first tackle, and Frank got 12 more first down to midfield before Gay made the tackle.
That's good football by the 49ers. Arizona loves these cross dog blitzes. You're going to see Lennon and you're going to see Washington come on that fire cross dog blitz, and San Francisco has the right play called. If they're coming with an inside blitz, run an outside run. Well done by the 49ers, and Alex Smith does a lot at the line of scrimmage for this 49er offense, audibling to the proper run.
Miller back to dot the I. It's Gore again. They jump over to the right. Nice job. The smooth cuts by Frank Gore. Gain of a half dozen. So Ray Horton, 52 years old, was with Pittsburgh as a defensive assistant to Dick LeBeau, trying to get his defense sorted out. And John, it's a defense 4th in the league in points allowed.
Yeah, they want to gang up on Frank Gore tonight. Obviously, that hasn't worked so far. They have to get San Francisco behind in the down and distance so they can blitz. This is a pressure defense. They have 22 sacks and a lot of contributors. so far, they are not getting it done.
Second and 5. Smith pressured. Brings it out to Kendall Hunter, the backup running back. He's tripped up. But falls forward for a first down. However, a penalty marker down after the game.
Personal foul, face mask, number 75 offense. 15-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Alex Boone, the pulling guard, erases what would have been a 49er first down.
Well, that's a huge penalty on a screen pass. That'll back the 49ers up way behind in the down and distance. And this is where defensive coordinator Ray Horton likes to apply pressure. It's not always man-to-man pressure. It's a muddy coverage. It might be a 3-deep zone, a 2-deep zone. You never know with Ray Horton and this Cardinal defense when they get you behind in the down and distance.
From the spot, brings it back to 2nd and 14. Smith was trying to adjust the play at the line. The crowd noise pretty good in here. Couldn't communicate it. First time out taken. 2:49 into the first quarter.
Monday Night Football is brought to you by iShares. Visit iShares.com to learn more. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go. And Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer.
You've all heard of the iconic byway, Route 66. Its longest original stretch runs through Arizona. We'll peek at that. It's Alex Smith, and the Niners face 2nd and long. It was a very good start, John, in part because they played the Jets in Buffalo and dominated them. Smith injured his finger, but has made big mistakes the last 2 games with those 4 picks. Running back Kendall Hunter's top of the screen. 2nd and 14. Manningham is hit immediately. Patrick Peterson with the eraser.
I love what Arizona did. San Francisco comes out in an empty backfield set. The Cardinals check to a 3-man rush, maximum zone. They anticipate the quick screen to Manningham, and Patrick Peterson lights him up. Here comes Manningham on the bubble screen. It's a 3-man rush. Look at the quick trigger by Patrick Peterson. That's good football. Kid's an emerging star, Mike. He can intercept passes, return punts, and he'll run right through you.
Manningham out. Play clock running down, 3rd and 17. Didn't get it off in time. 3rd and 22.
They're all over the place.
Away game. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
49ers take a timeout. They take a delay of game. That's not championship football at all, but that's what Ray Horton does to you. He gets you behind in the down and distance, and he throws you multiple looks.
Now remember, they had a first down picked up on a 2nd and 5 screen pass to Kendall Hunter, but here's a quick look at the Alex Boone face mask coming in your screen. Had his right hand on the face mask of Paris Lennon. So instead of a first down, they lost the yards. To delay a game, the false start, 3rd and 22. And they'll just run with Gore. Loss of 1. And that mistake by Boone, the guard, lost San Francisco a successful opening drive. So now it's 4th down, and John Patrick Peterson comes on the field. And this is one of the better matchups of the night. As Peterson, you already mentioned, elite punt returner, 4 for touchdown last year, is head-to-head with one of the best net yardage punters in the National Football League, San Francisco's Andy Lee. Good matchup tonight.
And the 49ers have 2 gunners that can fly. It's important Arizona holds them up on the outside.
Lee angling toward the sideline. Peterson, 56-yard kick. He picked it up at the end. Had nowhere to go. We have a marker down. Rowan in San Francisco is trying to cover. That's the thing about Lee. He can kick it deep and directionally.
He can do anything he wants with his legs. He broke NFL records last year for punt, and that's hard to do in Candlestick.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 27 of the kicking team went out of bounds on his own and did not attempt to come back in. 15-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
That's
Timeout.
C.J. Spillman, and John talked about the Gunners and what a good job they do. Jim Harbaugh, an animated conversation. What else is new? Spillman took the outside path, didn't hustle back in. Cost his team 15. For Arizona's opening drive, as we looked at that replay, C.J. Spillman, the Gunner, was pushed out of bounds, but he did not get back on his own in the field of play in a reasonable period of time. Thus, the flag call was correct. And John Skelton starts in the 27. Here comes Laurent. Stevens howling down the sideline. The starting running back gets 23 on first down. So Beanie Wells and Ryan Williams, the two best running backs, are hurt. It is Stevens howling in the lead spot and doing a good job.
What a great screen. They're going to bring Andre Roberts in short motion. It's going to look like a conventional pass, but it's a voided screen to Stevens howling, and he gets out on the edge with blockers in front. Great job by Hausler. Send line down the field, and Larod Stevens howling has been a big play back in a specialty role. Now he's the feature horse tonight.
5-2.
Special teams man, third down roll, only 5'7". Seventh-round draft pick out of Pittsburgh 4 years ago. Larod Stevens howling takes the shotgun handoff from Skelton and will not get back to the original line. Patrick Willis with the tackle. We mentioned John Skelton out of Fordham, 24 years old, third year in the league. He's making his 14th NFL start.
And a lot of inexperience around him. Left tackle, right guard, right tackle. Hausler at tight end. We mentioned Larod Stevens howling. This is a very inexperienced group, and to be honest with you, whoever plays quarterback has been under siege, Mike. 29 sacks in the last 4 games. That hadn't been done in a long time.
35 sacks overall, worst in the league. Second down run, Stevens howling, only going to gain a yard. Patrick Willis again with Aldon Smith, outstanding outside linebacker. This is the defense that's given up the fewest yards and second in points allowed in the NFL.
They're complete defense. They're good against the run, good against the pass, and they all tackle. But the one thing they haven't done on the stat sheet is rush the passer. I believe that's coming tonight.
We're getting set for a third and about 10, and Arizona had a mistake in personnel in the huddle, so they're just breaking the huddle with 10 to go. Playoff in time. Here's the pressure. Skelton throws incomplete. It was Justin Smith, the defensive end, in his own blitz look, dropping in coverage, and it forces a punt.
Well, you motion to an empty backfield set. You have to anticipate pressure when you play the 49ers. That time, San Francisco brings the blitz. Carlos Rogers forces the hot throw, and San Francisco's waiting for it. Good get off by the 49ers.
Ted Ginn Jr. see his prowess on special teams. San Francisco has all their 10 players tight. Looking to make a push at the lefty kicker, Dave Zastudil. Flag is down as Zastudil picks. Ginn picks it up on the bounce at the 7. And is brought down at the 13-yard line. Rashad Johnson in on the coverage.
49ers came after that. Excuse me, Mike. It'll be a re-kick here, I believe.
Holding. Number 54 of the kicking team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down. Timeout.
Yeah, good. Choose to tack it on instead. But you're right. They were all coming. That's the only way they can keep them away. And what a difference Jim Harbaugh made when he arrived for Alex Smith. He was 19-31 his record before Harbaugh arrived. Much better since. 18-5 over his last 23 starts. Number 1 pick back in 2005. Was a series of injuries, a different offensive coordinator every year. But Alex Smith has gotten stronger physically and mentally. He did a very good job leading this team to the West title and 13 wins last year. The 23 hands to Frank Gore, and his run is 5. But John, as mentioned of late, he's had troubles. 4 interceptions thrown.
That's really uncommon. You know, he's had a bad hand, bad finger, but the 4 interceptions were bad decisions. And I think when the 49ers fell behind, Alex Smith made some real bad decisions. But when you watch the 4 picks, it's not because he has a bad throwing finger. He just made some bad decisions, and I'd be shocked if Alex Smith makes one tonight.
2nd and 5, and Smith throwing to the wide side, complete to Manningham. Mario inbounds with a first down at the 37-yard line.
That's what I want to see. Excuse me, Mike. I want to see Alex Smith under the center, get some high percentage completions early in the game. He struggled the last couple weeks, but they haven't given him a lot of real good looks in the passing game on early downs either. That time, a quick 3-step drop, quick out to Manningham. Good play call.
Over the 37, play action, looking deep towards Randy Moss, who's covered, but Gore was open coming out of the backfield. As a first down gain of 11 in front of the Pro Bowl safety Adrian Wilson.
That's why they brought Randy Moss here, Mike. Get in 2 tight ends, 2 backs, and fake a counter play and see if you can get Randy Moss deep. This time they don't get it, so they go to the complimentary throw Gore, but get Randy Moss 3 or 4 down the field bombs. And if it's not there, check the ball down. And who else would you rather send down the field, Mike, on Monday Night Football other than Randy Moss?
Great career on Monday nights. Just shy of midfield, Kendall Hunter. Good job by Hunter to keep his legs churning, yards shy of the first down. He was the 4th-round pick out of Oklahoma State last year at 473 rushing yards. And this year, he's about a third of the carries compared to Frank Gore, and he's done a nice job averaging 5 per.
And he never loses yardage. This kid is a very good back. He never gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage, and that's uncommon for a young back in a complementary role. Some of these young backs try to make the big run all the time. Not Kendall Hunter.
Now Gore and Hunter together in the backfield. Into Gore, up the middle, stiff arm on William Gay into the 25-yard line, 17 big chunks for the Niners.
Well, they shift Joe Staley to an unbalanced line. I told you you're going to see some strange things tonight. Then they bring Ted Ginn in motion and run a fullback belly to Frank Gore. Look at Staley come over here. Now they're in an unbalanced line. And here comes number 19, Ted Ginn, who can fly in motion. And they run an old-fashioned fullback belly with the halfback away. That play was in Bill Walsh's playbook when I was with the 49ers.
25, it is Hunter, stopped initially behind the backfield or behind the line by Calais Campbell and brought down with a flag down a yard shy of the line of scrimmage. This flag coming down from deep in the secondary.
Holding, number 81 offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
It's the official in the back who's always responsible for watching the tight end. And he saw Garrett Selleck, brother of Brent, rookie from Michigan State, with the hold.
And that's the second big penalty against this 49er offense that puts them way behind in the down and distance. And once again, this is where Arizona makes a living at home with this crowd, this volume of nickel blitzes. It can give you problems.
On 1st and 20, it is a run with Hunter up the middle for 5. Calais Campbell with the tackle. We mentioned Campbell, he and Darnell Dockett. They've adjusted. This used to be a 4-down defensive line team, now 3-down linemen. And you need good linebackers, and this group has a very solid set of backers with Campbell up front.
Well, Campbell got a huge payday for a good reason. He had a breakout season last year. He bats down passes. He played over 90% of the snaps, and that's the big goal of the 49ers is wear Campbell and wear Dockett down because they don't have much depth behind them.
Second and 15 as Smith looks and throws complete. It is Delaney Walker. He seems to make big plays to the 7-yard line. First down for the tight end and a gain of 23.
Old-fashioned concept, a little smash route. They run a hitch into the boundary, and Delaney Walker runs a corner route. Patrick Peterson, I believe, blew that coverage. If you're a deep third player and you jump a hitch, there's going to be a corner route wide open in behind you, and Delaney Walker continues to be a jack of all trades for this 49er offense.
Good throw on time, on target. Smith 5 for 5.
Moss.
lost 4. Loss of 4. Sam Acho, one of those linebackers I was mentioning, John, out of Texas, second-year man.
Well, this is a gimmick run, and sometimes they look great when they work, but they're going to toss the ball to Gore, and it's a design cutback, and Acho says, you're not fooling me. Some of these gimmick runs, whether they be counters or not, they look great when they hit, and they look bad when they don't. That one looked bad.
Second drive of this opening quarter for the Niners. Kendall Hunter coming back inside. Hunter from the 5 to the 3. Paris Lennon, the 11-year veteran, made the tackle with 3rd and goal coming up.
Well, that's an old-fashioned sprint left hand back. Alex Smith is going to roll to his left and hand the ball back to Kendall Hunter going to the right. They're trying to get the linebackers to flow. They do a nice job with a counter scheme back to the backside. Big 3rd down.
Kyle Williams in the game. He's in the slot with Manningham to the left of the quarterback, Smith. And Alex throws up top. Crabtree holds on. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Oh, I love that. Alex Smith goes to his leading receiver, Crabtree, against the Cardinals' best corner, Patrick Peterson, on 3rd and goal. Throw it up high. Let Crabtree go up and get it at its highest point. Great strong hands by Crabtree, bringing it back to pay dirt. That's what they need from this wide receiver core, Mike. Touchdowns. It's number 2 for Crabtree.
Touchdown confirmed by the replay booth. The all-pro kicker from last year, David Akers, on for the extra point. Knocks that through. Second drive. San Francisco takes it down the field. 10 plays, 77 yards. Smith, the man who won the Bolitnikoff Award, best receiver in college football twice, Michael Crabtree. We mentioned a couple of times the offensive drought for the 49ers, but they're their second touchdown last 24 drives, and Alex Smith perfect thus far, including the touchdown to Michael Crabtree, 14th of his now 4-year career. 7-0 San Francisco. William Powell back deep to return it for the Cardinals. They'll take it and take a knee back in the end zone. So Larry Fitzgerald in this Cardinals offense, a touchdown hole on the field when we come back. Arizona's Larry Fitzgerald, one of the great receivers in the NFL. His dad was a media person, a reporter in Minneapolis. He gave Larry some great access, including 1998 when Larry was a ball boy at Minnesota Vikings training camp, where he was growing up there in the Twin Cities. Got to be around our colleague Chris Carter and Randy Moss as well. And tonight, Fitzgerald gets to share the field with Moss for the second time. Larry had a great run there in Minnesota. His dad's access allowed him to get to know some very familiar people. Randy Moss. He talked to Kevin Garnett about his college decision. Kirby Puckett as well around the batting cage. What an opportunity to mold a guy who's a superstar in the NFL.
Yeah, every young player needs a hero, and he had the right heroes, that for sure. How would you like to be Dante Culpepper? You have Jake Reed, Chris Carter, Randy Moss, and Larry Fitzgerald, your ball boy.
The quarterback of those 98 Vikings, a tremendous offense. From the 20, John Skelton, the quarterback, throws incomplete on obvious miscommunication or mistake one way or the other. John, how about how Fitzgerald is handling the fact that post-Kurt Warner, there hasn't been a trigger to get him the ball on a regular basis?
Well, there's been a lot of players in this league that have been in similar situations. You have to take the good with the bad. Easy to say, but nobody has as much mental toughness as Larry Fitzgerald. He knows he's the leader of this Cardinal football team. You can't just lead in the good times. You got to lead when you're struggling. And you're going to see the best of Fitzgerald in these times, too.
And they're trying to do exciting things on offense. That includes Patrick Peterson, who's seen a few snaps on the field together with Fitzgerald, as Peterson, the starting quarterback, gets it, and you're not fooling the Niners as he's chased down by Ahmad Brooks for a loss of a couple.
Chased down is an understatement. This is going to make Jim Harbaugh very proud. Watch Ahmad Brooks accelerate when he reads quick screen. fire. Man, I love to see that. You can see why the 49ers made Ahmad Brooks a critical offseason sign. They want to keep him here long term. I love the way he plays.
That was the 4th snap on offense this year for Peterson. He caught a ball for a loss of a yard last year. So his 2 receptions in his NFL career have been for negative yards.
Ball start, number 70, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Speaking of which, there's 5 more on the rookie right tackle, Bobby Massey.
And Bobby Massey has struggled terribly. He shouldn't be in there yet. He's a rookie 4th-round pick. He's given up a number of sacks. Now it's an obvious false start. And on 3rd down and 17, I expect a conservative call. Look for a draw or a screen, even though this Cardinal fan base won't like it.
John Skelton throwing for Fitzgerald. It is ruled incomplete. It hit the deck as Larry was reaching out to get it. And Fitzgerald's slow to get up.
It's a simple slant pattern out of the shotgun, and let's hope Larry's okay. Sometimes when you throw the quick game in the shotgun, I just feel like the timing is off. But Larry gets a rotation. He breaks to the inside, and that ball hit the ground, and Larry landed awkwardly. Looks like he'll be okay. Usually he flags that one.
Training staff escorting Fitzgerald off to the Cardinals sideline. As Ken Wisenhunt for the 2nd time sees his offense bogged down, and Dave Zastudil out to punt it. No pressure that time for the Niners. Very returnable. 52-yard kick. A lot of room for Ted Ginn. Trying to pick up blockers, but a very good job of coverage will limit the game. Richie Walker made the tackle. Walker is slow to get up as they continue to look at Larry Fitzgerald. Let's watch his head as he comes down. On that incompletion, Terrell Brown was there covering, and Larry's crown of his helmet hit the grass surface.
And they're going to put him through a litany of tests. The NFL has done a great job looking after players who have potential head injuries of any kind. Let's hope he's okay.
Standardized sideline concussion assessment tool that all the teams use with the various questions. Determine how much observation, if further observation is needed. 3rd drive from the Niners. From the 44, it's Gore. Frank Gore, they haven't really had many answers for Frank so far here, Tom.
You know, Jim Harbaugh is like a lightning rod. He's had some things with the media happen that I've sure enjoyed watching. He's a fiery coach. I just get the feeling, Mike, at the midseason point, you get in the locker room with your 49er team, and he's told them, hey, it's time to cross the line and become a force in the NFC West. This 49er football team is as physical on both sides of the ball as any team in the NFL. They remind me a little bit of how Alabama plays in college.
I like that analogy. They're off to a good start. They're averaging 7 yards a play and 6 yards a run. Controlling the first quarter as they look at a banged up Fitzgerald, whose Cardinals are down 7-0. Back here in Glendale, Arizona, Mike Tirico, John Gruden. Lisa Salters 7-0 in San Francisco. Ken Wisenhunt's Cardinals team. The NFC West champs in 08 and 09, but seen that mantle of best in this division taken the last couple of years by the 49ers. And another concern for Wisenhunt, the injury to Larry Fitzgerald. Seemed to come down the crown of his helmet first. And a bit dazed on the sidelines. They check in for concussion symptoms. 2nd down run starts the corner, and Calais Campbell tracks down Frank Gore for a loss of a couple of yards.
A couple of years ago, he was 280 pounds. He's added about 20 over the last couple years, and Calais Campbell, he can just go get the football. Take a look at him here playing right defensive end. He plays with his hands very well. 6'8". Uncommon to see a defensive end that tall play that well and that long. Great stamina.
Extra pass rusher Quentin Groves in for Arizona. 3rd and 7, San Francisco. Overloading from the left of the quarterback. Smith throws. It's caught, but shy of the first down. Good catch by Kyle Williams. They'll punt it on 4th down, and here's Lisa.
Hey, Mike. Well, the Cardinals doctor is continuing to evaluate Larry Fitzgerald over here on the sideline. Right now, it appears that it's as if they're doing some kind of balance testing. He's standing on one foot, raising the other, switching it out, raising the other foot. A moment ago, they were giving him the concussion questions, and he also had ammonia snaps. Those little snaps you snap open, smells like ammonia. He took a couple sniffs of that, Mike. Still don't know whether or not he's going to be able to return.
Okay, Lisa, they'll be precautious, use precaution, be very cautious with Fitzgerald, as they do any player. Good middle rush. Trying to get Andy Lee to get it out quick, but good hang time on the 40-yard punt. They're caught by Patrick Peterson at the 10-yard line. 35 gone in the second quarter. 7-0, Cardinals down. Fitzgerald back on the field. As the drive starts at the 10, and Laurent Stevens-Howling is erased by Ray McDonald. Loss of 6 on the play.
They didn't block him. That's as bad as a sack. Assignment errors, especially when you're backed up, not against the San Francisco 49ers. Just miss a down block. And Ray McDonald had over 90 tackles last year. He's really taken off with defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, but tight end Jeff King late on a down block. Bad mistake.
At first play, they got 24 yards. Their last 7, they have -7. And Stevens-Howling to the right. He gets the erased yards back as Willis tackled him at the 10. We're talking about Fitzgerald being dinged. Look at what's happened to this team this year. Kevin Cobb, who was 4-0 as a starter, injured his ribs against Buffalo. They think he'll be back before the year's over, but he's out for a significant time. John Skelton won the starting job. He got hurt. Both running backs, Beanie Wells and Ryan Williams. The tackles, that's why they're having such problems with sacks. Those 2 tackles could have been the starters. And tonight they're missing Adam Snyder, their guard, who injured a quad. And Beanie Wells, the running back, toe injury. He can return. It's going to be another 4 games until he does. 3rd and 10, screen set up again. Early Doucette with the game. 16 first down yards. Big for the Arizona offense.
What a call. Screen against the weak side blitz. They're coming after John Skelton. Early Doucette's a wide receiver playing running back. He just bluffs the blitz and off he goes. That's the 3rd different screen that Arizona has run tonight to take pressure off their offensive line. Not often you see a wide receiver catch a screen pass out of the backfield. Big first down.
Skelton hit hard as he throws high and incomplete. Trying to get it out to Andre Roberts, his 3rd-year wide receiver out of the Citadel, and that's part of what we talk about, the beating in addition to the injuries to these quarterbacks.
Yeah, sacks is not a real descriptive word for me. The type of punishment that these quarterbacks are taking, it's not fair to them. John Skelton won't last long, and Ryan Lindley is the backup quarterback, a rookie out of San Diego State. They're going to need him if they don't protect better than this.
Skelton took that straight-on shot from Justin Smith, who turned his head as he was about to make the hit. Stevens-Howling runs, and from his safety position, Dante Whitner read it and knocked him down.
You know, 2 years ago, Whitner had 140 tackles with the Buffalo Bills. And when they bring him down on the strong side, wide receivers have to get in position to block him. He fills the lane as good as any strong safety in football. He might be playing quarters coverage, but if he sees that tight end block, he'll pull the trigger and make the tackle at the line of scrimmage. 2 outstanding veteran safeties, Whitner and Deshaun Goldston, and man, do they work together in the middle of the field.
Notice here to help with protection, John, 2 tight ends are lined up on the opposite side of the quarterback. Skelton buys a little time, goes to one of those tight ends, Rob Hausler. He's down 27-yard line. Arizona, after 1 first down, will be forced to punt it for the 3rd time tonight.
That's tough living. The word is out, really, on this Arizona offense. You don't have to blitz to get there. Nobody really fears the running game with all their backs hurt. And we can play a lot of different coverages and take Larry Fitzgerald out of the game. And until Arizona blocks better, they're going to struggle to score. I don't care who they play.
Zastudil didn't have a lot of hang time in that last kick. Ted Ginn, good return chance. Niners bring an extra body in to put pressure on. Zastudil gets it away. 52 yards, room for Ginn from the 21 this time. Ted Ginn, if he gets it to the outside, he's got a lot of room. One man, Acho, he's past him. Ginn past midfield. Into Cardinal territory at the 44-yard line.
How many first-round draft choices do the 49ers have? Ted Ginn doing what he does best. Back to the Columbus, Ohio State days. Ted Ginn can still flip the field.
Arizona struggling offensively. San Francisco scored a touchdown on its second drive. They have 119 yards compared to the Cardinals' 39.
And watch this shot play to Randy Moss on a sudden change.
After the 35-yard punt return by Ginn, Alex Smith throws. Delaney Walker couldn't hold it. Dropped it across the middle, incomplete. So Larry Fitzgerald came down crown of his helmet first. They've been looking at him on the sideline. This is new procedure with the NFL. There is an observer upstairs who is watching the video, and they're able to send to each team doctor that video of where the injury happened to check specifically how a player may have gotten injured. And after the last drive, Cardinals medical personnel who viewed that video back over and talking to Fitzgerald, who is sitting on the bench again. 2nd and 10, San Francisco. Kendall Hunter sweeping to the left. And Darrell Washington takes him out of bounds, but again, 7-8 yards on a run for San Francisco.
Well, Tom Rathman used to play fullback for the 49ers a long time in these level backfield sets. We called them brown backfield sets, blue backfield sets. That's what they're running. How would you like to have Tom Rathman be your running back coach when you're playing running back for the San Francisco 49ers? Nobody can coach running backs like Tom Rathman.
3rd and 2. Vernon Davis blocks for Frank Gore. He's got the first down at the Arizona 34.
Look at all these formations, Mike. I mean, the 49ers are running the ball out of an I formation. That's standard. Then it's a one-back formation. I've seen them do this. And it's that level, strong set. And then you have an offset I formation. And then you have multiple shotgun formations. Incredible the volume of this 49er running game.
Movement early by Mike Iupati, the left guard.
False start. Number 77 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
The offensive coordinator position was defined by change. 8 different offensive coordinators for 8 years. Greg Roman, back-to-back years now with that job, came over with Harbaugh from Stanford. And, John, what they've done is they're not hiding it. They run the ball very well. So they use that deception to kind of hide the number of ways we're going to give it to Frank Gore 20 times, and, man, it works.
Yeah, they're going to protect their running game by disguising it. He said nobody's going to crack our code. Unbalanced line again.
5th penalty of the night for the Niners, and Gore is stopped that time by Dan Williams, 3rd-year noseman out of Tennessee.
It's time for Dan Williams to start playing like a first-rounder. If anybody runs the ball and Dan Williams is out on the field, it's not a good thing for Arizona fans. He's a former first-round draft choice. He's drafted to play the nose tackle position in a 3-4 defense. They need more from him. Nice play by the former Tennessee Volunteer.
Halfway through the second quarter. Alex Smith, pressure up the middle, is picked up. Now he moves to the right, but chased down and brought down by Darrell Washington, who for an inside linebacker has a hard-to-believe 7 sacks in 7.5 games.
There's a lot of linebackers sitting at home watching this game saying 7 sacks for an inside linebacker? That's impossible. It's that cross dog blitz again. Lennon's going to go first, and Darrell Washington is going to go get Alex Smith. He beats Jonathan Goodwin, and he has the recoverability with that great speed to finish it off. 7 sacks. Amazing.
Play clock running down. Alex Smith very unhappy and a timeout taken. Smith wanted more time on the play clock. Niners timeout their second. I think to see those teams next Monday night.
Can't wait to see those two quarterbacks with their back against the wall.
It really is.
A lot of football left. I mean, everybody's panicking. The Super Bowl champion Giants went 9-7, and so did Green Bay the year before that. Just relax and play the schedule.
Third and 23, the Cardinals bring 4, and Alex Smith throws complete. Then run by Crabtree after the catch, back in the field goal range. Almost got the first down. At the 25, needs to get past it by another half yard. From here, a field goal is 43, or will they go for it?
What a great route. They flush everybody out of there and create a one-on-one for Crabtree on a little jerk route. And Jim Harbaugh hit the lottery. He got the right coverage. He's going to get a one-on-one with Crabtree against Patrick Peterson. And Crabtree says, I'm a former first-rounder too, Peterson. Nice work by Crabtree running the route and making it happen after the catch.
Needed 23. They got 22. It's a 43-yard attempt against a good field goal blocking team. David Akers able to power it through. Man who hit an NFL record-tying 63-yard field goal earlier this year. It's Harbaugh 3. Thought they had a chance to get some more on that drive. Well, since they've moved out here to Arizona, Cardinals have struggled on Monday Night Football. 1-7, including the Dennis Green. They are who we thought they were game. The Chicago Bears. A bizarre game. The Bears came back to win. Derek Anderson caught laughing on the sideline. Reminded everybody in no uncertain terms he took the game seriously. William Powell from 8 yards deep will take a knee, and the Cardinals will start again at the 20. I bring up Anderson because it's been a litany of quarterbacks since Kurt Warner. His 3 years in the desert got him to the Super Bowl, top 10 offense. But since then, Anderson, Cobb, Skelton, Max Hall, they're bottom 5 offense. And they have not been able, John, to do the things that Kurt did. Kurt was on my Monday Night podcast this week. I talked to him about the problems and the issues, whether it's been the injured Cobb or Skelton. He said, I came in, they tailored the offense to me. These guys have not been able to follow and take the offense forward. Fitzgerald back on the field. The throw to Andre Roberts is complete. Carlos Rogers tackles him after a gain of 6.
Well, Kurt Warner's not coming back. And John Skelton's running out of time, I think, to showcase his abilities and that he is the future quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals. Look, he's 6-0 here as a starter, but he needs some help, Mike. The tackle play hasn't been good. Mike Gandy was the left tackle for Warner, and Levi Brown was the right tackle. Arizona's missing a lot of pieces other than Warner also.
That's 2nd and 4 run. Stevens howling. He's got nowhere to go. The fullback Moia saw Willis go right past him, and it was an easy cleanup for Ray McDonald.
Yeah, Patrick Willis saw Darrell Washington blitz that A-gap. He said, watch this. But the 49ers are stuffing the Arizona Cardinal running game. That time he runs through and smacks the fullback, causes another impact play in Arizona. Again, with a long yardage situation, and Alden Smith at the bottom of the screen is due for one.
3rd and 7. Skelton throws for Fitzgerald. It was high. He couldn't pull it down. The nickel man, Chris Culliver, over there on coverage. 3 and out again for Arizona.
These Smith brothers, I call them, they work together on this TE stunt. Here's Larry Fitzgerald working on the outside. Culliver does a nice job going up and playing the ball. But watch this TE stunt. You see Alden Smith go into the A-gap after Justin Smith sets him up. It's a matter of time before Alden Smith gets to the quarterback.
Ted Ginn has had a couple of opportunities. Last punt return was 35 yards. Zastado kicking toward the sideline. Another 53-yard kick in from the 24. That time well covered. William Powell takes the directional kick out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Now, John, you mentioned Skelton. As you look at Fitzgerald, 6-0 as a starter at home. John Skelton's been 8-5 overall, and we saw Kevin Cobb on the sideline with the injury. There are pieces on the outside of this offense, not just Fitzgerald, rest of the receiving corps. The injuries we pointed out earlier, that has put this defense under a lot of pressure. And you told me before the game, you thought this was kind of a pride game for the Arizona defense on the same field with this San Francisco defense tonight.
Yeah, they want to prove to everybody at home and to the San Francisco 49ers that they're the best defense on this field tonight. So far, it hasn't been the case.
Niners running the ball effectively, as is usually the case with Frank Gore, with a run for about 5 yards to the 36-yard line. It's a 49er offense that averages about 6 yards a carry, 5.9. Tonight they're only averaging about 5 yards a carry. They're under their average, which tells you how good it is, because then they can dictate the terms and throw so many other different opportunities in the pass game. You see, it has been almost a half century since the team started that good in yards per rush. Smith throws complete. Manningham right by the sideline, the man who made the great Super Bowl catch for the Giants, as a San Francisco first down.
How do you not like Alex Smith? He's won 19 out of his last 24 starts. He takes care of the ball. I know he's had some interceptions in the last couple weeks. Just good timing, good location. He handles a lot of football. Different plays, different formations, check with knees. I've even seen him leave the game for Colin Kaepernick to come in and play quarterback. Very unselfish team guy.
First down, play action throw, well protected, looking downfield. It's deflected. Delaney Walker did a great job. Kept his feet in bounds. First down.
Randy Moss clears out the deep zone, and Delaney Walker runs a corner route right in behind him. How about that concentration? Watch Delaney Walker run an outside breaking corner route. The ball's going to be tipped by Kerry Rhodes. Not only does he catch it, he gets both feet in bounds. Second big play tonight for Delaney Walker.
Great vertical there by Darrell Washington. Man who had the sack earlier to get up and get it. Good sideline work by Walker. Gain of 15. In Cardinal territory. Throwing hot to Crabtree on the edge. And he gets 8 yards out of that.
This Crabtree, 49ers leading receiver, had over 70 catches last year. No other 49er wideout had 20. So they went out, they got Mario Manningham from the Giants. They bring in Randy Moss. They even drafted A.J. Jenkins out of Illinois in the first round. But at the end of the day, it's still Michael Crabtree, the former Red Raider out of Texas Tech, leading away with his 49er receiving corps.
Approaching the 2-minute warning. Straight passes. Smith over the middle. Vernon Davis, who is always getting the most attention from the other defense. Chance to shake free for 25 yards on the first down.
All-out blitz, one-on-one coverage, and Alex Smith goes to his Pro Bowl tight end, Vernon Davis. Pick up, here comes the blitz, and Vernon Davis just beats Kerry Rhodes right down the seam. Great pickup. Beautiful execution by the 49ers.
2-minute warning. San Francisco at the Arizona 10. Toyota halftime show coming up with Chris Berman, Chris Mortensen, Adam Schefter. The Sunday soundtracks, the effects of Hurricane Sandy on the NFL. Minimal to the effects truly for all those living in the Atlantic seaboard. And the story of Michael Vick. Toyota halftime show coming up. One timeout remaining, 2 minutes left. Cardinals in a big hole. Smith left and open. He got popped by Calais Campbell. Loss of 6.
Well, Alex has to get rid of that football, not take that kind of hit. 49ers have given up too many sacks, but some of them have been on Alex Smith. Nobody's open. Sometimes you have to throw the ball away, and that's the only play. Alex Smith doesn't want to take many of these.
Timeout taken here with 1:54 to go. And a 10-0 game. John, it has been such a dominant performance in this first half by the San Francisco offense in total. And Smith hasn't made the mistakes that he made. And remember the Seattle game through a red zone interception? I know it's a sack there, but at least he didn't do what he did 11 days ago.
Yeah, you don't want to throw the ball away.
Right.
You don't want to throw a turnover, obviously, but he needs to get rid of the ball and keep his team in a normal down and distance situation. Going to be hard to convert here.
Randy Moss up at the top with Manningham. And Smith goes that way. It's Manningham at the 10. Taken down by Patrick Peterson at the 9-yard line.
There's part of the value in Randy Moss. Even though he's 35 years old, he can still run like the wind. He's going to run a corner route. Coverage is going to sink, and you're going to see Manningham wide open underneath. But just because Randy Moss isn't catching the football doesn't mean he can't help this 49er pass offense still a proven threat in this league.
He's only been thrown to 10 times. Moss, who was out of football last year, 3 different teams the season before. Clock running down. San Francisco forced to take its final timeout. That earlier timeout was taken by Arizona to preserve time in hopes of getting the ball back with 1:47 left and 3rd and goal coming up. Randy Moss, 6 times to the Pro Bowl, 4 times the All-Pro, 154 receiving touchdowns. Second, John, only to Jerry Rice.
And give him credit for coming back, because one thing about Moss, he could go get the ball. Some of the catches that he's made over the years, amazing. Sat out a year and decided he wanted to come back for more. Incredible down the field receiver, the great Randy Moss. I think he scored 17 touchdowns on Monday Night Football. He might get one tonight. Don't go away. And he's been a real presence here for this young 49er receiving core. He's a mentor to him. He's
a positive
teaching them.
presence.
Exactly right. Much like he did for Larry Fitzgerald, he's doing for young guys like Crabtree, A.J. Jenkins. He's one of the godfathers of the position, that's for sure. Keep an eye on Vernon Davis.
He's the alone eligible to the top. Smith looks right, double clutches. Crabtree complete. Pass Peterson to the end zone. So Patrick Peterson was there, but Crabtree accelerates past him, and it's 16-0 San Francisco.
Well, Crabtree beat Peterson on the goal line earlier. This time, he makes Peterson look bad as a tackler. Just going to be a little flat route. Number 21, Peterson, has to make the tackle. You got to have the right base. You got to break down and make these tackles, and Peterson looked bad there. Crabtree's having a great night.
David Akers for the extra point. Make it 17-0 San Francisco. It's the second time in his 4-year career that Michael Crabtree has had a 2-touchdown reception game. Did it the last game last year against St. Louis. Michael Crabtree came out of Texas Tech. Mentioned the first guy to win the Biletnikoff Award, best receiver in college football in back-to-back seasons. Slow start to his career, but a big performance here tonight with the 2 touchdowns. Really, as you said, victimizing Peterson both times.
And, you know, Patrick Peterson has all the ability. We've seen him play press coverage, off coverage. He has 3 interceptions this year, but he's been targeted a lot. And great corners in this league aren't targeted very often. The great corners in this league sometimes have no interceptions. The Reeveses, the Champ Baileys of the world. I think Peterson's got to improve as a tackler. He's got to get wired in fundamentally, use his hands a little bit better. He's got a great future, but right now Crabtree has his number.
He had talked about that. He doesn't care about that interception number going up. 3 this year, 5 in his career. He wants to see the times when they don't throw at him, but Alex Smith and Crabtree do there. And it's an Arizona defense, as we mentioned. They've taken pride in their performances this year, but Alex Smith, with only 1 incompletion here on the night, playing that smart mistake-free football that has been the hallmark of this last year and a half.
I remember the second half of the New Orleans Saint playoff game last year. I don't know if you could play quarterback much better down the stretch than Alex Smith played it for San Francisco. If they maintain this kind of balance and play this defense the way they're playing it, they'll be around a long time this year.
Akers with the kick. No return as William Powell couldn't catch it clean.
Take a look at the touchdown. There's going to be some confusion. Manningham shifts into a bunch formation, and you see Patrick Peterson, William Gay, number 22, trying to communicate the coverage. The ball snapped, and Crabtree just runs right into the flat, and Patrick Peterson misses the tackle. The more you do on defense, Mike, all these blitzes, all these coverages, all these different things, better chance you have of making a mistake. And right now the 49ers have forced Arizona into several.
We've talked about all those motions and shifts out of the San Francisco offense, what it does to a defense. Saw it there. 2 timeouts, minute 41 left. An Arizona offense that has done nothing so far tonight. Skelton thrown to the wide side, incomplete for Michael Floyd. That's their first-round pick this year. The receiver out of Notre Dame, and the Bluebirds raining down on Wisenhunt's team.
Well, they've got 40 yards of total offense. And Arizona has not threatened this 49er defense at all.
Second and 10, Fitzgerald from underneath, able to get that first grab to the 33-yard line. 90 seconds, turning clock.
And defensive coordinator Vic Fangio of the 49ers looks like he's content to rush 4, and this is where the Cardinal offensive line is the most vulnerable.
Skelton has time, and he throws complete to Andre Roberts. First down at the 45-yard line. Arizona using its second timeout, 1 left with 1:11 left of the half.
That's good pass protection by this offensive line of the Cardinals. Those last 2 snaps, they give Skelton plenty of time to survey the defense and make an accurate throw. And I know Ken Wisenhunt feels the urgency to get something before the end of the half. They'll get the ball to start the third quarter. But again, this San Francisco 49er pass rush, only 11 sacks this year. That's the one thing on the stat sheet that really hasn't shown up.
Interesting. You kind of see Larry Fitzgerald there taking those ammonia sticks and still kind of shaking his head and shaking out the cobwebs with so much attention to concussion protocol. You saw the doctors did everything that they were supposed to do, but clear that Fitzgerald just trying to get right. In the old days, that wasn't a big deal. That was a sign of machismo. Now it's a flag of concern. Skelton on the pressure. Brought down by Navarro Bowman. Second sack of the season for the linebacker.
That's not fair to John Skelton. You have an undersized halfback in the game. You're trying to pick up one of the best linebackers in the league, and Navarro Bowman runs right over LaRod Stevens-Howley.
Loss of 9 on the sack. Just up the middle, Skelton throws. It's deflected in the air and almost pulled down for an interception by Parrish Cox. He was out of football last year. Alden Smith the pressure.
Once again, it's a tackle end stunt, and nobody does it better than Justin and Alden Smith. They're a step away. That's the second time.
Darren College trying to do all he could, legally or not, to hold him up from hitting his quarterback again. 3rd and 19. Need to get to the San Francisco 45. Just going to run it with Stevens howling to the 47-yard line. San Francisco out of timeouts. Arizona doesn't even have to punt the ball. Or they could choose to take it all the way down and throw a Hail Mary at the end of the half.
It all comes back to the poor blitz protection. Stevens Howling pressed into service as the third halfback. You know, you have to pick up blitzes, and when you have an 180-pound running back blocking a vicious blitzer like Navarro Bowman, you're going to see some more of that in the second half, I promise you.
Well, the clock now stopped at 5 seconds. Timeout taken there. Since it had run down, it was 4th down. The 49ers had used all their timeouts, couldn't stop it. So they take it down to 5 seconds in the hopes that they can buy enough time to throw it downfield, throw a Hail Mary, and make something happen. Told you the catch a moment ago was the first on the night for Larry Fitzgerald. He's had a quiet first half. Was injured early on. And other than that, it has not seen a lot. John, candidly, it's been part of the story this year. Shallow crosses or short stuff because there's no time to get him downfield.
No time.
And this is what started it early on in the game as he came down the crown of his helmet on the turf and was examined for a potential concussion. Final play of the half. Skelton unloading short of the end zone. And on the deflection, Chris Culliver able to come up with it. So it's an interception for Culliver, his second on the season. And ends a poor half for the Cardinals, who get the ball to start the third in a 17-0 hole. Here's Chris in the Toyota halftime show.
But Arizona's done nothing well. They can't run the ball against the #1 rushing defense. They fall behind in the down and distance. They've not even threatened tonight.
Only 4 first downs for the Cardinals, who sit at 4-3. They won their first 4. There's some good wins in there too. Beat Seattle, won at New England, beat Philadelphia. Took care of the now 4-3 Dolphins in overtime. They lost at St. Louis, Buffalo, at Minnesota. They need to come back here. Lisa Salters.
Hey, Mike, well, I asked Ken Wisenhunt if Larry Fitzgerald looked right to him, and he said he seems okay. They checked him on the sidelines, and they cleared him to play, so I'm assuming that he's okay. I hung around the Cardinals locker room just to see what Fitzgerald looked like when he came out. He did look okay, but I'm told that they did continue to monitor him throughout halftime. Mike?
All right, Lisa, there's such a protocol now for evaluation of players with concussions or head injuries. And the Cardinals medical personnel has followed all of that for everything we've seen to this point. Skelton takes over from the 20. High pass brought down by his tight end, Rob Hausler. Gained him about a half dozen. Dante Whitner, the tackle. First down's been hard to come by. Arizona has 4. They have 6 rushing yards. They haven't had good field position. And they've had the ball for a third of the first half. In other words, San Francisco's kicking their tail.
Spread formations. Arizona's going to try to get Fitzgerald going in the spread.
The 25-yard line. Skelton thrown the opposite way, and it's caught by Andre Roberts. He's got a first down at the 33. We saw Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator for the Niners last night. He lauded those other receivers to set Andre Roberts, Michael Floyd, the first rounders. And they have a very good receiving corps beyond Fitzgerald. There's Vic, who, like the offensive coordinator Greg Roman, came over when Jim Harbaugh left Stanford. San Francisco has put up the second best record in the NFL in the last year and a half. 18-5. Only Green Bay better. Stevens Howling ran to the right, turned to the left, and Aldon Smith was waiting.
They just no running game. You can't lose yards at the point of attack. You must get your blocks, but this is just going to be a stretch play to the right side, and Lyle Senline, the center, gets knocked backwards, and Aldon Smith on the backside says hello. That's the third negative yardage run they've had, and you just don't want to be behind in the down and distance against this crowd.
Mention the tackles, Levi Brown and Jeremy Bridges, who are out for the season. They haven't had. Good touch on that pass to Jeff King, former Carolina Panther tight end. Biggest looking play of the night to the 40-yard line, gain of 27.
This is a work in progress. Aldon Smith playing outside linebacker. They're going to blitz up the middle, but watch Aldon Smith dropping coverage. This is something that's foreign to him. He's responsible for the flat. He gets outflanked and pays for it. But Smith only played 50% of the snaps last year, Mike, and he was exclusively a pass rusher. So dropping in coverage continues to be a work in progress.
On the 40, a lot of throwing, quick throws, setting up a screen. Stevens Howling, it is well read and stuffed out. Patrick Willis was there. He had Clark Hagans and others waiting.
Well, Patrick Willis came into the league 5 years ago. He's been in the Pro Bowl 5 straight years. That's uncommon production, and a lot of it is just speed and relentlessness to the football. But Lawrence Taylor, Derek Thomas entered the league and went to the Pro Bowl their first 5 years. So has Patrick Willis. He's in rare company. Great player.
Pressure picked up. Skelton with time. Throws it very high and incomplete. Dante Whitner's safety blitz was picked up. Hey, John, you were talking about Willis and the success of Lawrence Taylor and Derek Thomas. In terms of consecutive Pro Bowls for a linebacker when their career starts, Taylor went to 10. Derek Thomas went to 9. And then Willis and John Offerdahl, former Miami linebacker, first 5 years in the league.
Yeah, he was on the draft board when we were picking. We passed him to Mike.
It's the player personnel office that did that, right? Not the head coach.
Me.
3rd and 11 from here. A field goal is just out of the range of Jay Feely. So they need yards. Here's a corner blitz. Going right where the blitz came from to Roberts, but a great play by Dante Whitner, replacing that spot Carlos Rogers blitz from.
He's one of my favorite 49ers. They do it all with great disguises. They're going to show a 4 across zone, which is their standard coverage, but they're going to blitz Carlos Rogers and watch Dante Whitner come downhill and break down Andre Roberts. What a beautiful disguise. They held it until the ball was snapped. I promise you, Dante Whitner is as good an open field tackler as there is at the safety position.
You have 5 or 6 more yards. You have a field goal opportunity. Feely did kick a 61-yarder this year. And they choose to punt, try to pin the 49ers deep. They are unable to get it before it crosses the plane. So a 37-yard punt is only 17 of net for Zastadil. That's not good enough. It all come together every week. Here in Arizona, where the fans are trying to charge up their defense, desperate for something positive to happen. Alex Smith, an outstanding first half for the Niners. Frank Gore running to the left. Good first initial hit by Calais Campbell. And a minimal gain of 2.
Alex Smith saw that blitz coming up the middle again. That time he audibled to the stretch play to the outside. He protects Frank Gore with audibles in the running game. Once again, you're going to see pressure up the middle, and Smith audibles to a running play that allows Gore to run away from the blitz. They hit it big in the first half. That time it was just a great play by Calais Campbell, who's having a big night for this Cardinal defense.
Jim coming around, they fake it to him, and Smith will now throw it Ted Ging's way. It's a completion, but it's no gain. Smith only missed 1 pass in that first half. He was 14 of 50. It's the best first half he's had in his career, and the best completion for percentage for anyone who's thrown 15 balls and a half this year in the NFL.
And it sure helps when you can run the football. But Alex has been on time. He's been accurate. Found his tight end, Delaney Walker. Nice pinpoint throw to Crabtree for 6. Beat the blitz with Vernon Davis down the seam before the half. Nice reset, accurate throw to Crabtree for another score.
This was not a strength of this offense, picking up 3rd and long. A 3rd and 9 here is Crabtree again. Post-catch run, first down and more. Crabtree to midfield. Gain of 28. William Gay was the corner victimized by the initial move that time.
Well, missed tackles will kill you. And William Gay's got to make that play. It's a zone blitz. Alex Smith throws the ball clearly short. But watch Randy Moss, if he comes in the picture, get a block on the backside. Here he comes. Randy Moss does a great job cleaning up on Fleming. You have to tackle in the secondary or you're going to give up a lot of big runs after the catch. How about Randy Moss mixing it up?
Across midfield, here is Gore. Regained a couple of, maybe 3 yards. You know, John, it's a tenor that's set with his team. It's a mood with his team. It starts up front with the physical running. It is the running backs, Gore, punishing. But then you talk about a Moss and the downfield blocking from the receivers. There's one mindset here. It's physical football with the 49ers.
I like the 49ers. I look out in the huddle now. They got Manningham and Crabtree come into the game. You forget Vernon Davis is even here. Here, they have a number of outstanding players. They have more first-round draft choices and former Pro Bowls on this roster than any other.
Smith, one of those 15 first-round picks on this team, gives to Frank Gore. Stopped behind the line of scrimmage by Darnell Dockett. Loss of a couple of yards.
Darnell Dockett is a great player. He's had hamstring problems this year. No sacks, not as much production, but that play right there showed that he's rounding back into full health. Does a great job getting off a block, finding Frank Gore. He's done it a long time, 31 years old. He's done it for 9 games. He'll be in a ring of honor here.
Empty backfield, 3rd and 8. Cardinals bring 5. Niners pick him up, and Smith finds Moss for the first down and more. There goes Randy Moss down the sideline. Randy Moss on Monday night. What else is new? Touchdown.
Look out if the 49ers get Randy Moss going. Jim Harbaugh, he told us last night Moss has been a role model for the 49ers. That time he just starts inside, comes back outside. We call it an arrow route. Protection was outstanding. Watch him break back to the outside, and the rookie Fleming out of Oklahoma is no match for Randy Moss. He ran through the Arizona Cardinals like they weren't even there. That looked like a 1999 Randy Moss. What a comeback. Sat out last year, wanted some more of this league, and he just got some.
Randy, it was 14 years ago this month, that sensational rookie season with Minnesota that Randy Moss made his Monday Night Football debut. He has 18 touchdowns in the 19 Monday Nighters that he's played. You see 5 of them over 40 yards, that 47-yarder. So 18 in 19 Monday Night games. That's the best ratio among the 34 guys who've caught at least 7 touchdowns on Monday Night Football over his history of the series. I mentioned that other non-receiving touchdown was a rushing touchdown. My mistake, punt return touchdown was the other one for Moss.
There's Fleming there, and San Francisco is ripping Arizona after the catch. They've got over 100 yards after the catch tonight. Not good by the Cardinals secondary.
Both big plays on that drive. Another weapon, they're kicking. David Akers kicks don't get returned. You don't get a kickoff return look against this 49ers team. Second time this year Randy Moss has taken one to the end zone for this very deep and talented 49er team. We'll be in New Orleans next Monday night. The Eagles are 3-4 after their loss to the still undefeated Falcons. The New Orleans Saints come back licking their wounds after a loss to the Broncos. So both teams trying to turn it around. We'll see if Michael Vick is still the quarterback of the Eagles next Monday night. No official announcement out of Philadelphia today. Extra day of the week. Plus the just terrible storm hitting the Atlantic seaboard. And a day off for the folks around the Eagles complex. Coaches did meet there. Skelton's first down pass completed to Andre Roberts, tackled by Carlos Rogers.
Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, loves to blitz one side of the formation and drop a defensive end on the other side. And Carlos Rogers in these zone blitz coverages, he sees it the whole way. There's just nothing after the catch.
Early Deuce set the wide receiver, lines up in the backfield. Skelton gets hit as he throws to Hausler complete for the first down at the 33-yard line. So there's no back there to help out the quarterback. And Willis got a free shot.
This is what Vic Fangio does. He brings pressure on one side of the formation. He forces a hot throw into a zone coverage, and he pounds your quarterback. I would not want to be John Skelton right now.
Arizona had a decent-looking drive. The first one of his second half out of the no huddle, trying to pass to Michael Floyd, and it's incomplete. John Skelton's out of El Paso, Texas. Didn't get many or any offers, so he has an uncle who lives up in the New York City area, and took him around the colleges in the Northeast. Got to see Fordham. They were interested in Skelton's abilities, and that's why the school in the Bronx offered a scholarship to the El Paso, Texas kid. Skelton completes it to Andre Roberts into Niners territory at the 47-yard line.
Good pass protection by Arizona. And now the 49ers finally substitute. I see some fresh defensive linemen coming into the ball game, but just a simple corner route. Nice job crossing Dante Whitner's face, and Andre Roberts has turned into a good slot receiver for the Arizona Cardinals.
Skelton throws. It's complete. Again, it is early Doucette. The flag comes in as Doucette is taken out of bounds.
They might get Larry Fitzgerald here for offensive pass interference. He can't believe the call.
Pass interference, offense, number 11, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Just as Arizona gets something going, they call offensive pass interference on their best player. But take a look at Larry. Oh, I don't see that.
Bump Patrick Wilson came off the field there. Not enough there for pass interference, but it was called, and it'll take it back to 1st and 20. Took out of his hands. Here's Floyd, Notre Dame rookie across midfield. John, there was some question, why do you draft a wide receiver in the first round? They wanted to give Fitzgerald a running mate. Remember how good he was when Anquan Bolden was opposite him.
Aldon Smith just ran him down like he was the wide receiver.
Skelton taking a shot toward Floyd. Incomplete. Floyd cut in front of Terrell Brown. He was never really open.
Floyd made a lot of plays at Notre Dame down the field. Their all-time leading receiver. There's only been 2 first-rounders come out of South Bend, Tim Brown and Floyd. Played for 2 different head coaches, and they gave him a chance there to go up and make a play. And that's what he was, I thought, at Notre Dame. A great jump ball receiver. He needs to refine his game quickly. They were looking for him to come in and give them the kind of play that Anquan Bolden gave him over the years so far. Hasn't happened.
Fullback Anthony Sherman in to pick up the pressure. Pass is complete as Roberts comes back to get it. He's 2 yards shy of the first down. As he was brought down, Parrish Cox in the secondary. And on 4th down and a couple down, 24. So about 20 minutes left of the game. Arizona will go for it.
Good pass protection that time by Arizona. They pick up the blitz, and the Rod Stevens howling has always been a factor coming out of the backfield in critical situations.
They need to take a timeout. They were trying to, Ken Wisnott sees his team broke the huddle. She's going to let him go with enough time. They couldn't get the right personnel out at first, and Wisnott thought about taking a timeout. 4th and a couple. Skelton throws middle. Somehow held on to by Jeff King for the first down.
Dante Whitner and Deshaun Goldson can't believe that John Skelton shot that ball between the 2 of them. Just a simple square in by King, and there's Whitner, Cox, and Goldston closing in. They can't believe it.
Arizona abandoning the run here, down 24 on this drive. They're at the 29. Again, underneath complete. Again, it's King. 3 catches for Jeff. He spent the first 5 years of his career with Carolina.
The thing about this 49er front is they're tired. You see Justin Smith leaving the game. Jean-Francois coming into the game now. They don't have a lot of depth. And when Aldon Smith, Ahmad Brooks get tired, Justin Smith get tired, they don't have a lot of proven, known pass rushers. And that could hurt them throughout the course of this season.
Backfield empty. Quick to do set. Out of bounds at the 19. And a first down mark will keep them inbounds in progress. 3:08 to go in the 3rd.
Carlos Rogers has come to San Francisco and played the best football of his career. 6 interceptions last year. Watch him break and drive on early Doucette. He almost throws him right into the down and distance marker. Good tackler, become a ball-hawking corner and a Pro Bowler.
His first 6 years with Washington, made that Pro Bowl. And second-team All-Pro last year. Jim Harbaugh didn't like the spot, as did Rodgers, but a first down was awarded. Cardinals, rare red zone appearance. Skelton with a pump, trips over his lineman, gets a couple of yards on the run as Clark Higgins brings him down just inside the 17.
Clark Higgins, the former Arizona Cardinal, played a lot of his best football with the Pittsburgh Steelers and here in Arizona that time. As part of the rotation, you see Higgins, number 51, just retrace and go find Skelton. Good coverage down the field.
But John, you mentioned it before, after Aldon Smith and Ahmad Brooks, Higgins, who spent 4 years here after 8 with Pittsburgh, now a Niner, that's the only other really outside linebacker they have.
And they're going to have to rush the passer another 30 snaps, so conditioning and depth is going to be a factor for them.
2nd and 9, over the top shot for Fitzgerald, incomplete. And you see Larry grabbing towards the head area again. We mentioned and showed you earlier, Fitzgerald went down, crown of the helmet first to the ground, and he's heading off to the sideline.
Well, Chris Culliver, number 29, against Larry Fitzgerald on a post pattern. Does a nice job with Dante Whitner coming hard from the free safety position. I think it's a good no call.
And that head gets driven right back into the turf. You see the discomfort for Fitzgerald. 3rd and 9. Out of the backfield to catcher Anthony Sherman, who stopped at the 10-yard line. 3rd reception for Sherman, one-time special teams captain. Checking his eyes as the field goal unit comes on. I'm not thrilled about that here in Arizona.
They're not thrilled about anything here tonight, Mike.
3rd year that Jay Feely is here. Kicked a 61-yarder against Buffalo to tie the game. But they eventually lost. 28-yarder for Feely is inside the upright and good. So they're on the board. The home folks are not fond of how they got there. A rough night for Fitzgerald and the Cardinals. Just a moment ago during the timeout, Ken Whisenhunt comes over and has a conversation with Larry Fitzgerald. He's trying to make sure, as Fitzgerald is watching his health after the hit to the head earlier. San Francisco was prepared for the onside kick there. Arizona chooses to kick it deep, and Ted Ginn takes a knee, and the drive will start once again at the 20-yard line. Inside of a minute left in the 3rd, San Francisco looking to get to 6-2 and up a full 2 in the division. Way back when, he finished 3rd in the Heisman voting at Michigan. Threw 129 touchdown passes in his NFL career. But Jim Harbaugh, the coach, it's about running and defense and taking care of the ball. That's been the formula for the wins so far at 18-5 in his San Francisco tenure. Look at the ranks. 3rd in rushing yards per game since he took over. League leader in points per game allowed, turnover differential, and win percentage. And Johnny, he's not winning Mr. Congeniality contest as a head coach. He's fiery. Got into it with Jim Schwartz. Got into it with Pete Carroll. But the formula has really turned around. All that talent you talked about, the 15 Pro Bowlers on this roster, and is getting great results in the last year and a half. First down, it's a Frank Gore run to the left. Harris Lennon the tackle, and the gain's a yard, John.
Well, he took over an underachieving team. Not everybody likes his mannerisms. He's had some conflicts with Kevin Gilbride and other coaches, but you're not going to make a lot of friends if you're a head coach. All your players aren't going to like you. The owner might get mad at you. Some of your staff members, I mean, the Twitterers, the bloggers, the media, it gets on your nerves after a while, but he's a tough coach. He knows what he wants to do, and he's doing it quite well. I got a lot of respect for the way he runs the San Francisco 49ers. personally.
Sounds like you know that life, huh?
Yeah, used to.
From the heart. 2nd and 9. The pressure is picked up, but the good continued pass rush by Darnell Dockett gets him his first sack of the season.
Give Darnell Dockett credit. We said he's been hurt early in the season. Watch number 90 beat a double team, come backdoor and go get Alex Smith. I like the way Arizona's competing to finish the third quarter. There's no quitting them.
Plenty of hits in that San Francisco defense, toughest to score against in the National Football League. Arizona has but 3. It came on the last drive. Fourth quarter here in the desert. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters on the sideline. We begin with 3rd and 19 for Alex Smith. Goes to Michael Crabtree. Patrick Peterson again. Couldn't bring Crabtree down. Paris Lennon and William Gay get him. Shy of the 20, and it's punting time. Let's see if Patrick Peterson can make a punt return.
Now they're comparing him to Dion and Woodson and all these great corners. I love his talent too, but he's not tackling very well tonight. For Patrick Peterson to take it to another level, he's got to improve his tackling, and they need a return here.
Jay Feely is the place kicker. He ran down to the 35-yard line. He works with Peterson because he's out there on defense, trying to line him in the right spot where Andy Lee's kick is going to be. He was on target at the 37-yard line. Peterson chased down. Great coverage by C.J. Spillman. A return of 2.
I told you these gunners could fly. C.J. Spillman is off to the races. He gets the outside release, gets right back into the playing field, goes, finds Peterson, and brings him down immediately. Both of these 49er gunners, the men that play on the outside of the punt team, have tremendous speed, and special teams coach Brad Seeley puts them in position to make plays every week. Great job by C.J. Spillman.
And John, too often we talk about the punter and hang time and directional kicking with net punting. Those gunners on the corner facing a double team very often, and Spillman was penalized in the first half for staying out of bounds too long and not jumping back in. Good play there. Arizona's abandoned the run. It's been no huddle and throw, and what a hit across the middle by Deshaun Goldson. No flag comes down, and early Doucette stays down. That is shaken up. Doucette trying to get up, but they keep him down there for a second. That's well advised. Watch and listen. Violent hit, but it was legal. The good news is Doucette headed off the field. Timeout. There's been a lot of TV time on big hits, and Ken Wisenhunt is doing a very proper thing right now, making sure that early Doucette is okay before he goes back in. We're also looking at Adrian Wilson off the last series. Off the incompletion, Deshaun Goldson with a big hit on Doucette. They got involved last year. In an altercation when these teams met, 2nd and 10, and Skelton is sacked by Ahmad Brooks.
Well, it all started with the big lick. The disguises. You're going to see Whitner go back to the post, and Goldson comes down into a weak rotation and punishes early Doucette. Last year, Golston was kicked out of the football game against the Arizona Cardinals for fighting with early Doucette. Legal hit. That was a payback.
Legal in terms of leading with the head. It was just a shoulder. Doucette has been cleared by the Cardinals staff. He's back in the game. Skelton's on his back. So Aldon Smith knocks one out of the park. This has been a common theme for San Francisco lately.
Can't block them. And the 49ers are the most physical team in football, and they smell blood in the water. Aldon Smith, number 99, unloads on an inside move.
John, you highlighted that right at the beginning. DeAnthony Batiste at one tackle, Bobby Massey at the other, and Ahmad Brooks and Aldon Smith, the outside backers, get him on back-to-back plays. Zastadil to punt. Fair catch signaled for by Ted Ginn. The kick was 42, and Ginn will have it for the 49ers at the 36-yard line.
Aldon Smith, they haven't had a pass rusher like this in San Francisco since Charles Haley.
Aldon Smith, another sack. That's 6.5 this year, leading the team in 20.5 in his first 24 NFL games.
Very athletic, an unorthodox outside linebacker from a size standpoint, but he has rare length and strength. He's a unique freak, Mike.
Well, he almost hit the rookie record for sacks by the freak. Remember Javon Curse from his Tennessee days. Been a half sack shy of that record with last year's performance. It's a Kendall Hunter first down carry to the 41. 49ers lead by 21. Ball control. They've been solid throughout the night. And then turning over to the defense. And John, it was interesting because Arizona moved it down the field. Short passes, didn't huddle. And San Francisco just decided to get after him that last drive. And those two big plays with the sacks.
I like the fact that the 49ers have depth, especially at the tailback position. Kendall Hunter in an unbalanced line taking over for Gore to wear out Arizona.
Running to the right. There, Washington with the tackle after Campbell finished him off. You know, we have not seen Colin Kaepernick yet tonight. 36th overall pick in the draft 2 years ago out of Nevada. We're in that pistol formation, the short shotgun, instead of being about 7 yards back, 4 yards behind the center. And San Francisco's run a little bit of that. Kaepernick's had some success this year, but no action thus far tonight. Kaepernick only played one snap in the first 3 games, but played a lot in games 4, 5, and 6. But again, back to one snap against Seattle, none tonight. Smith pressured, and Alex will be brought down. Quentin Groves got the last hit. Darrell Washington, who already has a sack tonight, was also in the mix.
Again, it's that A-gap pressure, the gap between the center and the guard. And that time it's a double A-gap look. And he just runs right through there, beats Kendall Hunter, and then gets another sack. I don't know how they credit sacks, if it's a half a sack apiece. But he just got at least a half, Mike.
All Washington.
Let's give him 8 sacks for the year. Yeah, and these gunners for the 49ers, they can fly.
Being single covered as Patrick Peterson away to the 10. Arizona tried to pressure. Andy Lee got a big booming kick. Peterson at the 5, man who had 4 touchdown returns last year with a penalty marker down. Well covered, and Bruce Miller, the fullback, made the first hit at the 11-yard line. 50 on the punt for Lee.
49er coaching staff, very experienced. Talked about Coach Harbaugh, Roman, Vic Fangio, Tom Rathman, offensive line coach Mike Solari, and special teams coach Brad
During
Seeley.
the kick, illegal block in the back, number 31 receiving team.
A lot of
Half the distance to the
expertise.
goal, first down.
A lot of
Timeout.
expertise, Mike, on all 3 phases, offense, defense, and special teams. They have good players, good coaching, and they're a fine football team.
Go to the Arizona State Fair here in the desert. Our aerial coverage tonight brought to you by DirecTV. Just past the top of the hour, and many around the country without power because of the storm. Multiple deaths, almost 3 million people already without power. So much damage. New York City, so many parts underwater. You know, many of you have families back in the Northeast. Thinking about everybody here tonight. Pass complete to Andre Roberts as Aldon Smith went offside.
Got him on a hard count, backed up.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
You know, John, the league office is closed today. It's going to be closed again tomorrow. The trade deadline, is Adam Schefter and Chris Mortensen telling us, pushed back a couple of days, Thursday instead of Tuesday. If this game would have been scheduled in one of 6 teams, both New York teams, Boston, or New England, obviously, Philadelphia, Washington, or Baltimore, we wouldn't certainly be playing tonight or who knows when. So a lot of folks in the Northeast, not just football, but every phase of life and American business going to be hampered here for a couple of days. So Everybody you know that way, stay safe. Another unabated to the quarterback is Samad Brooks. Game over.
Offside. Defense number 55. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Which Harbaugh doesn't like that. Don't get sloppy. You watched that Dallas Cowboy New York Giant game yesterday. No lead is ever safe in this NFL. Men love to rush the passer in these predictable passing situations, but you got to key the football.
Each had a sack on the last drive. Understand, let's go back there and get some more. Underneath, Fitzgerald still in the game, comes back with a catch 2 yards in front of Deshaun Goldson.
Deshaun Goldson, he will strike you. Tremendous range. These 49er safeties, ball hawking, big hitting, sure tacklers. They just make it hard to do anything in the middle of the field. Get to know him.
Dante Whitner sets more of a tone back there with the physical stuff. Goldson has not just his physical play we saw, but also good in the deep half, heading back to center field. Didn't know each other before they became teammates last year. Complete to Rob Hausler to the 34-yard line from John Skelton's terrific story. Skelton and Hausler born on the exact same day in the exact same hospital in El Paso, Texas.
Everybody's in a two-point stance. Vic Fangio throwing the kitchen sink at John Skelton. This is where you're a defensive coach and you try to break some tendencies. You have a big lead. Vic Fangio has a lot of volume in this playbook, and he's using it with a 3-score lead. Oh boy.
Skelton got away from the Brooks sack, gave it to Aldon Smith.
Bobby Massey at right tackle is seeing some players and some looks that he hasn't seen before, as is DeAnthony Batiste. But the sacks continue to mount. This is Ahmad Brooks, and you're going to see Aldon Smith come late. TE stunt. Incredible speed. He's chipped. He won't quit. He can cover ground. Man, can he cover ground.
7.5 sacks now on the season. And a lot of pointing on this second down flat.
Ball start. Number 74 offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Batiste. Mentioned Levi Brown, the would-be starter, triceps injury on injured reserve. Jeremy Bridges injured his thumb. He's on IR. Batiste would have been competing for one of the other tackle spots. Massey, a 4th-round pick at offensive tackle. They were looking to develop this year.
They gave up 50 sacks in each of the last 2 years with the players you talked about. The Cardinals have given up more sacks in the last 2.5 years than any team in the NFL.
139 in 2.5 years. Skelton's pass is incomplete. Terrell Brown, the coverage on Roberts.
Well, just look at the last 3 plays here. Left tackle, Batiste, number 74. Justin Smith, nobody blocks him. Again, it's a TE stunt on the left side. Aldon Smith forces an incomplete pass. It's another inside move, and Aldon Smith crushes the quarterback. Arizona has real problems, and when you look at the schedule of games that they have on the horizon, wow, they got a tough slate down the road.
Play clock winding down, and Skelton takes Arizona's first timeout in the second half at 7:54 to 4. 50-plus sacks last couple of seasons, 39 here at the halfway point of this year for Arizona. For tonight makes it 33 sacks here in the last 5 games against the Cardinals. Kevin Cobb injured. John Skelton starting the last 2 games. LaRon Stevens-Hallett on the screen. Taken out right before the 30-yard line. 13 yards shy of a first down.
They just seem more athletic than everybody. That time, LeVar Bowman slips 2 blockers, almost makes the tackle, and here comes Goldston to cap off and get the 49ers off the field. But very athletic at all 3 levels. Defensive line, watch Bowman, number 53, slip these blockers, almost make the tackle, and here comes Goldston to mop up. But deep group of athletes here in San Francisco.
Flag is down, 2 of them, 2 separate fouls as Ted Ginn goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line. And John, when you watch them play, especially on the defensive end, yards after contact as a defensive stat is so low against San Francisco. They hit you once, you don't go very far at all.
No, you don't.
Bill Levy's got 2 fouls at opposite ends of the play, so take a minute to sort it out halfway through the 4th.
During the kick, holding number 48 of the receiving team, 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. Also during the kick, illegal block in the back, number 24. The penalty is declined. First down, timeout.
Be right back. These 2 cities will have their teams head-to-head in downtown Phoenix to open as Golden State Warriors will take on the Phoenix Suns. We've got a doubleheader for you on ESPN on Friday night. Alex Smith had a terrific night. Only 1 incompletion. Vernon Davis with that catch. So Alex Smith is 18 of 19 passing here tonight.
And he's won 20 out of his last 25 starts. I know he's got a big day coming up in April for the 49ers. Do you pay him the roster bonus? Is he the future of the San Francisco 49ers? How can he be? What do you want to see Alex Smith do, Mike? Winning 20 out of 25. He's completing over 70% of his passes. The only change in Alex Smith this year is there's been no change for a change. He has the same coach, the same system, and he's growing into an outstanding quarterback.
They throw it to Hunter to the left, yard short of the first down. John mentioned that completion, just that one pass. It was almost a drop earlier on tonight by Delaney Walker. So 18 of 19. You have to have 20 completions to qualify for, 20 pass attempts, I should say, to qualify for the best completion percentage within a game. If Smith completes one more, he'd be 19 of 20, and that would be a record for the best completion percentage in one game. Kurt Warner had a great game where he had a few more attempts, but only a couple of incompletions. So Alex, you get him one more throw, give him a little screen pass screen, 19
Not on
to 20.
31, they're going to slam Kendall Hunter.
No, I'm going to give it to the fullback instead to try to pick up the first down with Bruce Miller on the carry. Kurt Warner had a 24 of 26 game, by the way, that set the completion percentage record within a single game.
A lot of people criticize Alex Smith because of these statistics, and statistics drive me crazy at the quarterback positions. I don't like QB ratings and all that stuff. I really don't. Alex Smith is not going to throw for 300 yards a game here. They don't throw the ball enough, Mike. This is a team that runs the football. They run a lot of exotic formations. They're going to be balanced. I know he's only thrown for 300 yards in 3 out of 74 starts, but he's not going to throw for that kind of yardage. He's going to complete 70%, take care of the ball, and keep the 49ers defense in play.
Here's the run with Hunter. John, he doesn't care about it. It's a lot what Jim Harbaugh's instilled in him. Here's Justin Smith talking about the difference in Alex since Coach Harbaugh took over.
I think a lot of people would have cracked. The town was on him, the organization was on him, and just that resolve to stay in it when it's easy to bail. It's easy to go to another team, fresh start. He's got the ability. He can play football. He can always play football. I think it's the right situation, having the right scheme, the right people around him, like any quarterback needs. And he's a top talent.
He had that shoulder injury in 08. Had another shoulder injury he tried to play through. As the team struggled, he became the face of that because he was the #1 overall pick. Kendall Hunter with the carry. Just even look at this offseason. Even after the success and the great performance you've mentioned multiple times against New Orleans, they went to knock on Peyton Manning's door. See if Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning's pretty good, though. We can't fault him for that.
I don't fault him a bit. I'm just saying. At every turn, it was Alex Smith. Well, maybe you can do better.
You can't have a lot of feelings in this league, believe me. If the sheriff's available, I'm going to knock on his door, ring his doorbell. I'm going to talk to the mailman and the milkman.
Of course.
Think he's making a difference in Denver? You need a quarterback. The 49ers have one. Look at that one-loss record for Jim Harbaugh. That's impressive.
3rd and 8, inside of 4 minutes. And the whistle. Let's go back and throw.
Away game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
We mentioned the stuff with Peyton Manning in Denver. Harbaugh did go to visit back in mid-March to watch Peyton Manning throw down North Carolina, but he made it clear during OTAs it was the incorrect, erroneous perception that we were flirting with Peyton Manning. Silly, untrue, and phony. Harbs just wanted to go see an NFL quarterback throw. Who can blame him?
You can't use Stanford lingo like that with me. I don't even know what erroneous is. Shifting into an unbalanced line again.
He dropped back to throw the last time. This time he'll give to Hunter. And Kendall Hunter will be brought down at the 21-yard line.
It's credit to the 49ers, the way they take care of the football. Kendall Hunter, Gore. No turnovers.
Timeout taken by the Cardinals. You feel better, John?
Oh,
Halloween treat for you?
I know all those guys.
Guys from Kiss. Patrick Peterson to catch the 30, but head to the sideline, so only a return of 5 to the 35.
I went to the Kiss concert. Everybody knows Ace Frehley.
Gene Simmons.
You had to look it up. Gene Simmons.
I have to look it up.
Paul Stanley. Look at me right there. I was at the Kiss concert.
Look at
Gene
you.
Simmons. I sat in his box. I got to meet Gene. He's not as tall as he is in real life because he wears these big heels. Paul Stanley. These guys used to be teachers. And look at him now. I love Kiss.
But look at you. That's
Shout
sad.
it out loud, man.
That's sad.
I would sing it for you, but my wife, she won't have any of that. Well, that's a great concert. Get a ticket, man.
Peter Chris, Paul Stanley, right? Aren't those the 4? I'm trying to remember from my youth. Michael Floyd with the catch. A couple yards shy of the first down. You could dress as one of those guys for Halloween. Go through the neighborhood on Wednesday if you'd like. It'd be a fine look.
I'm going to be Chucky for the 14th straight year.
Have you gone as Chucky for Halloween?
Yeah, I went downstairs yesterday, and my son said, Dad, are you going to ever get a new costume? I've been Chucky 14 years in a row.
Pass incomplete for Fitzgerald, blanketed by Terrell Brown. We've had Monday night games on Halloween over the years. A lot of fans come dressed in costume. There you go, see?
Hey.
Do you get any royalties on those, by the way?
No.
Okay, I know it was made famous before you. It's some movie mode. 3rd and 1 for Skelton and the Cardinals. And the first down is picked up by Michael Floyd.
You know one thing with this Cardinal team, they've just been too streaky. Last year they started 1-6. Then they finished 7-2, and they go 8-8. This year they start 4-0. Now they've lost 4 straight. Who are the Arizona Cardinals? They've got a lot of injuries, but they have some dynamic young players. But their schedule coming up, Mike.
Wow.
Catch by Floyd.
What a catch by Michael Floyd, the rookie out of Notre Dame. Frank Reich, the former Maryland and Buffalo Bills quarterback, is the wide receivers coach.
Wow.
And he said Floyd makes those type of spectacular plays on a regular basis in practice. That's a tremendous catch. We really do like his development. Skelton buying time for Roberts. Tackled by Willis, incomplete.
Held Alden Smith there.
Holding, number 71 offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Might be the best pass rusher that I've seen. Last year, we saw him against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Alden Smith. And when you talk about a guy that goes inside on a stunt, there's not many that can go in there with that type of authority. He reminds me so much of Charles Haley in his heyday, his glory years. Haley used to come on that inside stunt. 3 steps, he'd be right in your face, much like young Alden Smith's doing for these 49ers.
Complete to Fitzgerald at the 39-yard line. And that should take us to the 2-minute warning here in Arizona on a night dominated by the NFC West champs and NFC West leaders by 2, San Francisco 49ers.
Up, Stuart Scott with you, Sports Center after the game. The GMC postgame report highlights and analysis of this NFC West showdown. Also, top 10 plays from the NFL from Week 8. We'll have the latest on Michael Vick's job security. And Michael Wilbon sits down with the greatest basketball player on the planet. Mike Tirico, who do you think that is?
Well, I'm seeing big old number 6 of Miami here, so I'm going to assume it's LeBron. As we get set for the NBA season to start Friday, with the Knicks and the Heat, followed by the Lakers and the Clippers in Los Angeles. Offside called here on the 49ers.
Offside, number 55 defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
You know, I was coaching, we had a big lead one time, and these defensive linemen are jumping over the Gatorade cooler to get in there to rush the passer. And right now, Coach Harbaugh, he's having none of this. He wants them to finish the game with class, but these players have incentives in their contract. You get $50,000 if you get 5 sacks. You get $100,000 if you get 10 sacks. You got a 3-score lead. Guys are flying over there.
So nobody's doing this.
Sometimes we had 12 guys in the huddle. I said, Trace Armstrong was the biggest culprit. I said, you get out of there. We got a big lead. We're resting you. He wanted that extra $25K, I think. But watch these guys. They're going to rush the passer like it's the start of the game.
1st and 5, and Floyd with another catch. So Floyd is having one of his better evenings in terms of receptions. He only had 8 in his first year coming in.
A lot of frustration here on this Cardinals sideline. We've had some longtime Cardinal greats. You see Dockett, Adrian Wilson, Fitzgerald. We've had some real highs and some real lows, and right now they're back on a low note.
Toward Floyd in the end zone, broken up. Chris Culliver, the nickel back.
They told us Chris Culliver is a work in progress. He came here out of South Carolina, 3rd-round draft choice. Starts in the nickel. He's a big corner that matches up with big receivers, and he just shows you his ball skills. That's an excellent play. But when you have a good corner that can come in and play on the outside in the nickel, it allows you to put Carlos Rogers inside where he's most effective.
2nd and 10. Pass caught by Anthony Sherman, the fullback. Moves it up to the 22-yard line. You know, you mentioned South Carolina. I wanted to give a shout-out to Marcus Lattimore.
Please do, yes.
His 21st birthday, the running back, that just ugly-looking leg injury, but back at home. And all of us are thinking about a lot of NFL players who are tweeting on Saturday their support and thoughts with Lattimore. Over the top for Fitzgerald. Couldn't get it to him. 4th down.
It's been a common theme here. All the quarterback rotations, Derek Anderson to Max Hall, Kevin Cobb, John Skelton, Ryan Lindley now in the bullpen. You have to hit receivers that are open, especially when they're in the end zone. But what is the long-term solution at Arizona at the quarterback position? Somebody's got to solidify that, or there'll be another change.
Skelton to Fitzgerald, got a 1st down, and Fitzgerald to the 7-yard line. Still grinding to get in the end zone here with 73 seconds remaining. 15 on the catch and timeout. Larry Fitzgerald has seen all the attention as per usual, but a good defense doing it tonight.
Well, when you only rush 4 men, you can play inside with help over the top, and that's just what Terrell Brown did. Very aggressive with them underneath. Watch him pass this off. Carlos Rogers jumps Fitzgerald. Good route recognition. Great communication by the 49ers secondary. And they're saying, hey, make somebody else beat us, because Larry Fitzgerald is not. And that's an easy thing to say. Last year, the 49ers had a plan for Fitzgerald, but he still broke out of some double teams. But tonight, he's been poked in the eye. He got hit in the head. And Arizona's been no match for San Francisco at all.
Only one 100-yard receiving game this year at 114 against Philadelphia. This is early Doucette, passing complete for the Cardinal wide receiver. Fitzgerald, 4 catches, 29 yards last week against Minnesota. And it is not just the quarterback, because as you said, he's had good games with Skelton at the quarterback. It's the lack of time, the lack of a running game right now.
The lack of a running game. I'm glad you brought that up. There is no running game. They have 7 yards rushing tonight. 7. And if you can't run the ball and you think you're going to throw it every snap with this offensive line, I don't think it's going to happen.
Second and goal. Skelton just throws it at Floyd. It's incomplete. And John, that's 7 rushing yard total for the Cardinals franchise. It would be the lowest since 1953. This franchise was back in Chicago at -1 yard. Of course, that's the long tail with these Cardinals over the years. Originally were the Chicago Cardinals. It's their 25th season in Arizona. Only the Chicago Cubs have had a longer championship drought, 64 years. Last time the Cardinals were champs, 1947. Skelton, 3rd and goal. Incomplete. Now get one more shot.
You know, when you go up against a 49er defense, someone asked me the other day, how dominant are they? Well, last year, they're in the top 4 in scoring defense, total defense, rushing defense, passing defense. And I said, that's dominant. Every film you pick up, nobody runs on them. They have a great pass rush. That kid right there is one of the great pass rushers that you're going to find. 2 safeties that intimidate you in the middle of the field, and they have a great scheme and an experienced coaching staff that makes great adjustments.
Trying to keep the Cardinals without a touchdown. Fitzgerald. That's Larry Fitzgerald fighting. It's the story, microcosm there, of what this season is becoming for the Cardinals. Yards short, over on downs to San Francisco. And another team without a TD scored against the Niners.
If you're a young receiver, though, just watch how Larry Fitzgerald competes. That's what it's all about. Winning, losing, tired, sore. Fight until the finish. And every 49er player would tell you they love going up against Fitzgerald because he brings it until the end. That's a pleasure to watch, Larry. Way to close out the game the best you can.
4th time in the last 5 games the 49ers have not given up a touchdown. Seattle scored 6, Buffalo 3, the Jets nothing, and Arizona's going to score 3. Of course, they lost to the best team they played in that stretch, the Giants, 26-3. And by the way, Alex Smith, as they work off the 1-yard line here, and he sneaks it. Even that gained 6 yards.
It's offensive line. Let's look in that huddle, though, Mike.
The line's done a great job. And, John, I just want to get this quick before we get off the air. Smith, 18 for 19. It's the NFL record for the most passes in a game with only 1 pass not complete. 18 of 19. Branch Harkington and Craig Morton, then of the Vikings and Broncos at the time, for each threw 18 passes. But Smith didn't get to the NFL minimum for the best completion percentage in a game, but only 1 not complete in his 19 tonight.
Should that be incomplete or not complete?
Could have been an interception. So that's why, John. See? Good test. We knocked it down.
Not complete. I've never heard anybody say that. Except you.
And you just repeated it. Final score here tonight is San Francisco 24, Arizona 3. So the Niners are 6-2, and they lead the division by 2 games. These teams will get to see each other the final Sunday of the season, December 30th.